Hello friends, welcome. I'm glad you're here with me today. So if you are not aware, right now we are having a hop with Whimsy stamps and Ranger inks, and that goes on through December 10th. So if you have not seen that, you can go over to Instagram and start at the Whimsy stamps and just follow the links and leave a comment and follow the directions there in the under the pictures, and you will be able to be entered for two different $50 gift cards, one from Whimsy Stamps and one from Ranger. So don't miss out on that. It does go through December 10th. All right, so today I thought I would share with you my creation that I made for this hop. So let's go ahead and switch the camera and get started. All right, so one of my favorite Whimsy Slimline dies is this fun Scenic countryside die. And the reason I like it so much is creating little villages and little towns are very popular right now. Almost every company has some kind of either stamp or die that is a way to create just a little village scene. So what I like about Whimsy stamps is that not only do you get your village scene, but you get this wonderful frame and these two great landscape building dies. And this frame and landscape, you can use these for all kinds of things, regardless of if you're going to build a village. So this is a really versatile die and well worth the investment. I do want to show you, I keep mine in this little envelope on this magnetic piece, so it comes with this large frame and you can see all of that. Now the other two dies that are included, I have my pieces still in that for today's project. I have them over here, and so I don't lose my little trees, I just left them in the die. So I do have a couple of them over there. So the other products that I'm using today, you'll need an embossing folder, a Slimline embossing folder, and any of the embossing folders will work great. Do say hi there if you're in the chat with me. Then I'm also going to be using the holly frame die, but I'm just going to use the small holly leaf and the holly circles, and we're going to add that on this time. So I'm going to change it up just a little bit. We're going to not make it exactly like this one. We're going to mix it up a bit. And for my paper today, I'm using the fantastic Distress Heavyweight cardstock that Ranger carries. If you've never worked with this, it is a great cardstock, and it can handle a lot of distress to it, so it's appropriately named. So that is the cardstock I'm using to do my blending and my water spritzing and my paint and all that we're going to do to this today. So I have gone ahead and out of just one sheet of my distress cardstock, I have gone ahead and I cut one piece to 3.5 by 8.5. Then I die cut that fantastic frame from our die set, and I went ahead and embossed it. And like I said, any embossing folder that Whimsy carries there would work great for this. There's a knit sweater, there's the, it's like a basket weave. All of those would be great. I just chose this one that had a bit of a floral to it. Then I also, from the centerpiece that cuts out, I used my hill die that comes in the die set to create myself a hill. And then with the wavy die, I used some glitter foam, and you could use glitter paper or you could just use another white paper and add some glitter to it. But I made that as well to go here in my scene, and I did that out of a longer one. And then I also cut myself out of that last third of my sheet of paper, I went ahead and cut myself a piece that is just slightly larger than the inside of my frame. Now you can use this piece that comes out, but I like to have mine just a tad larger. That way I can attach it before I put it on, and it just gives me a little more wiggle room. If I did all my blending and everything here, then when I put this on, you're going to see that excess blending. So I wanted that to be my frame. So this is kind of the piece that I'm going to build on before I put it in there. So hopefully that all makes sense. Now to create my original, hello Bonnie, I'm so glad you caught me live. I love that. I love it when people are here to chat with me. Ooh, hi. I'm just catching. Do you have the winter scene die, or do you have the Scenic countryside die? It's a great one. All right, to do this, the way I did it is I just took my Distress inks. Now today I'm going to be using oxides because believe it or not, I don't, in the regular Distress ink, I don't have black. So I wanted to add some black in today, and I was like, I'm going to have to switch to oxide. But in this one, I did use the regular Distress inks. But these are not colored papers. I used my Distress inks on pieces of my Distress paper, and I just colored using my blending brush. I just colored a section big enough with my red, I think it was the brick or the fired brick. I used that one to just die cut my houses. I first just blended a big swatch of color and then die cut the houses out. And that's why I have some shading. Like you can see, I kind of had my light source over here, so it's a little bit lighter and it gets darker as it goes in. And on these houses in the back, I added just a little bit of brown on top of them to put them in the shadows. So the same with the yellow pieces. I used some yellow ink, and then of course I blended the background using one of the blues. So that is how I created this one. So I'll go ahead and set that one aside because we're going to get to work on this one. All right. Now to do this one, I am going to start with just a little bit of yellow. Well, maybe I'll start with blue. I'm a little unsure. I want to have a little bit of yellow surrounding my star to give my star a glow, but I don't want to end up with green. So I think I'm going to start with my blue and just kind of leave a circle there for my little glow of yellow. And hopefully we don't create green. We're going to try to avoid that. All right, so I did go with a little bit darker colors. In my first one, I chose lots of really brights, but on this card, I'm going to keep it kind of white on white as far as my frame, and then this beautiful dark sky. And then all of my houses, instead of coloring them, I decided to go with black silhouettes and kind of see how that works. So I'm kind of taking it with a different direction here. But we'll see which one we like better. So did everyone have a nice Thanksgiving? Well, the Scenic die is a great one to have in your stash. That frame especially comes in handy for so many things. If you look at the design team cards that are on the website there, when you go to this item, so many of them are using the frame because it is just so versatile. And I don't know if you noticed, but on my original, I used some wood grain paper that Ranger has. And I just love that wooden frame going around my scene. When I have specialty papers like that, I'm like really stingy with them. Yes, I had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you. I had all my children here and my granddaughters, and we had a really fun day. Just a relaxing day. It was really whoops, look at that. Forgot to tap off. But we didn't put a lot of demands on ourselves. We just really took it easy all day, played with the kids and relaxed and had fun. For my daughter's wedding, we had some cornhole boards, you know, that game where you toss the bean bags. And my son saw those out in the garage, and so they started I forgot to leave the hole for the yellow. Okay, the star's not going to have a glow. That's okay. Best laid plans, right? Get to talking and forget what you're doing. But they had a really good time playing cornhole, so that was fun. So I'm just going to bring in a little bit of black to darken up my sky. Oh boy, yeah, when you're renovating, to have everything in disarray, that does change things up a bit, doesn't it? I have been through that myself. So I'm bringing my black in a little further than just the edges, because like I said, I made this a little bit bigger than my frame. And if I only did the edges, you wouldn't see it at all. So I am kind of bringing it in a little bit. Okay. Now I have to admit that over the holiday there, I didn't have as much time to be in my craft room as I usually do. So I'm a little behind on some things. How about all of you? Are you full switched into Christmas after Thanksgiving? And I did a lot of Christmas shopping over the weekend, so that was good. Okay, now I'm not going all the way down because I know my snow that I have made is going to cover that up. So no sense using my elbow grease here to blend that. So now that we have our panel inked, I'm going to use this water spritzer. It's just a water spritzer that I got at the dollar store. And I'm just going to spritz it a little bit here. It's a really fine mist, so there we go. And now I'm also going to use, this is a little bit of that shimmer spray, and I'm going to add some of that. Have to shake it up real well. Whoa! Did you see that, man? Well, let's see if we can dab that off. Man, it just dripped right out of the container. I wasn't even over it and it still dripped. Here, let's see if I can get it. There it goes. There, we got it. Okay. All right, so that gave a nice shimmer, but unfortunately I also got a big blob there. But I think that we'll be able to kind of put that behind the church so it kind of breaks it up. We'll see how it lands in the design. Okay, so we've got our back panel ready to go. So I want to talk about the frame just a little bit. So on the back side of the frame, I did put a pretty thick foam all the way around it, but I wanted my foam to leave some room. And on the bottom half, I went ahead and added some double-sided tape just inside my foam because I want to attach my glitter piece to the frame. All right, so I have cut it down to size so it will fit right inside like that because I want there to be dimension between the two. So you can see the front snow is attached to the frame, the back snow is attached to the background. All right, I'm just gonna remove the papers if I can get my, I have to use a tool to do it. When the weather started getting cold, my nails, like all of them are breaking off. So I have this, it's so small, I can't get a hold of anything. You don't realize how much you use your nails in crafting until they get real short and you can't get a hold of things. All right, I am also going to add just a bead of glue going around there because this foam, sometimes it needs a little extra help attaching. So I like the double-sided adhesive, but a little glue will help as well. Okay. All right. Okay, so to decide where exactly I want to put my next snow piece, I'm going to lay it down with the frame so I can kind of decide where I want my snow to be. So we're going to guesstimate about right here. I want it a little lower. Bring it down just a little lower. I think that'll be pretty good. So To know where I want to put it, I'm just going to draw a line right there with my pencil. And now I know where I want my piece to go. Now when I'm gluing this, I am leaving the top edge glue free. So if I do want to tuck any of my little houses back into the snow, I have that option. If you put your glue all the way to the top, then you have to put the homes in the front of it. So that's just something to think about. So I have left that where I can tuck behind. All right, so I'm going to leave it kind of set like this. I'm not going to glue it down. I'm just going to leave it sitting here while I arrange the little houses and the trees and such where I want them. So this gives me a chance to play. Now on all of the houses, I took some yellow oxide ink and blended it on some paper and then cut out little squares and mounted it behind each of the little houses. Now, if you wanted to, you could use like a small blending brush and put it right on your paper, but since I was inking the background, I decided to do it this way instead. So I didn't want to have, like I said, I didn't want to end up with green by mixing blue and yellow. So on the safe side, I decided to go ahead and make my yellow. But what I like about when you use a blending to do it rather than just using yellow paper is you get some lights and darks, and I think that looks kind of fun in the houses. And you know what? I almost forgot a step. Okay, let's set this aside real quick. We want to add some snow to our houses, and I forgot that. So I'm just going to grab my Doc Martens here and put a little bit, well, it's right here on my mat or block. And whatever you use for snow in your craft room will be fine. I'm going to grab my glitter. And now I'm just going to take my little knife and I'm just going to tap it on the roof lines of my houses. It's kind of fun to get globs and different shapes. And now I'm just going to put them there in my glitter. And now my snow kind of matches my glitter snow that I've made here on my card. I like doing this with the knife or the little spatula because you get just real random. You don't end up with anything too, it looks more like snow when it falls on your house. Something that I am thankful not to experience very often. So tell me there in the chat, do you like snow? Are you a winter person or are you more of a summer? Living in Texas, I might as well be summer because we're not getting very much snow, but we have occasionally, believe it or not. There we go. Oh, I love how that's looking. It really is glittery fun in person. And just dip them in. All right, I think this might be my last little house. Oh, I think one more. I have one little one, like a little bitty one. And then I'll show you how I did my trees. So on my houses here, I am just putting it right on the roof. But for my trees, I'm just going to take my spatula and kind of flick the tree. See that? So it just looks kind of on the tree. Just like that. Might want to a little more up there on top. Ooh, these little bitty ones. May have to get my tweezers. I thought about doing the top of my fence line, but in the end I decided it was going to be on white snow, and I wanted my fence to be sure to show up, so I didn't put any on my fence. But there we go. All of our pieces are snowed and ready to go. I'm glad I remembered that step. Oops. I'm going to grab a baby wipe here and just clean off my block and my spatula. There we go. All right, good for next time. All right, now we can start looking at where we want to place all of our images. So I started with my church, and I decided I wanted the church to be the main one sitting up on top of the snow. So I am going to position that to see if I can kind of break up that blob that fell back there. Yeah. Oh. Okay. I'm going to add just a little bit of glue right down here on the bottom edge. I shouldn't have taken these papers off quite yet. All right. And we're gonna glue him right there at the top of that hill. Have to hold it just a little bit to get that glue to stick in. Oh, you don't get snow where you are either? I kind of like it that way. I grew up just south of Chicago. It wasn't in the city, it was in the suburbs, but I remember walking to school on top of snow. Like the snow would be up above the mailboxes. Like we were walking on top of the mailboxes on top of snow. So I've had enough snow to last me. All right, I am going to take this largest tree and I'm going to place it right next to my church. Just going to add a little bit of snow there. Or snow. Add a little bit of glue. All right, and because I'm having a little bit of trouble, you know, when I was doing it at home all by myself, I don't mind taking the time to just let that adhere. But since I'm on a video and you don't want to watch me hold these for, you know, several seconds each time, I'm going to go ahead and glue this background down. Yeah, that's a good spot for it. And let's see. Go ahead and we are going to go ahead and attach this frame. I did want to tell you, if you used like paper here, you would want to add some foam along the back side, leaving your edge free so you can tuck some houses in. But because I used the glitter foam, it's thicker anyway, so I didn't have to add any extra foam in there. All right, now I can remove that paper. I can get it off there. There we go. And go ahead and attach that down. That'll make this process go a little quicker for you. Okay. Now, before we go too much further, I'm going to go ahead and add my fence down here. That way, when I build my houses out, I kind of know where I'm going with it, you know? It always helps kind of plan ahead as you're going when you're building these scenes. Go. Add a little bit down at the bottom. And I'm going to tuck it right back in there. I think I'm going to trim off that one. I'm just going to put it so just the base of my fence is touching the snow. Oh, oops. There we go. All right, and I am going to take my little scissors and just right here where it meets the snow, I'm going to go ahead and trim that off. There we go. All right, so we got our fence in place. Now I'm just going to go ahead and build out my scene here. Decided to go ahead and put that one towards the front as well, but on this one I'm going to tuck it back behind the snow. So on this one I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on the front instead of the back. yeah, you just hide that a little bit, right? Hate when that happens, but it happens to all of us. All right, and I'm also going to add another tree right here. And he may or may not stick for right now. When I did this before, I had to set some blocks on them and let them dry over time. So we'll try not to move it around. There we go. Okay, so this little house, I'm going to tuck it in the background. Right back in here. There we go. And I think I like this little house. My little scene looks different every time I do it. Okay. And then down here on the other end, I'm going to add some more trees. Maybe this one right here. You say you get panicked when you have a mistake. You know, I don't know that I ever did, but definitely I've been making live videos now for, I don't know, at least 5 years, maybe 6. And, you know, I just got to a point where it's like, okay, it's going to happen. It happens to everybody. And so I don't usually let it rattle me. Sometimes it will make me shake a little bit. Like I get a little like, oh no, you know, but usually I can just fix it on the fly. Okay, one of my favorite things are these little horses. That's what I love about this little scene. It makes it different than a lot of the scenes that others are offering. I love that it's like this countryside with the fence and the horses. I think that's really adds a serenity and peacefulness in there that I just really like. Whoops, this one didn't come out. Well, that's weird. There he goes. Yeah, he didn't have a little thing to poke through. Okay. Now I have gone ahead and on this one that's eating, I went ahead and put a little foam on him because I'm going to put him right here towards the front. Okay. Then this one that is standing looking that direction, I'm going to glue him over on this side. kind of, before I had him on top of the trees, but it was because he was brown. But with him being black, I'm going to move him over just a little bit. See if I can get him where we can see him better. There we go. And now this little guy that's running to join his friends, we're going to put him back here. All right, I think our scene is really coming together. Now I'm going to go ahead, we're not going to use those pieces. And the next thing, I have this kind of swoopy Merry Christmas like this. But I also thought it would be fun to maybe over here in the corner or by my sentiment to just add maybe right in the corner. Let's try this and see how that looks. I like the idea of adding just a little bit of color over here. And I've got a couple holly berries that I made. And this is what I got from the holly frame. Now I would love it there in the chat if you would give me your opinion. Do you like this like kind of floating in the sky kind of sentiment? Or do you think it would look better kind of like this with the holly attached to the Merry Christmas? Could even maybe put it up here on the frame. I don't know. Does anybody have an opinion on that? I think I'm kind of leaning towards the floating in the sky, but y'all tell me what you think. All right, and while you're thinking about that, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add my holly leaves just right over here in this corner. I totally forgot. I thought I'd also try if I liked them in the center. No, they're going in the corner. Okay. And this is the smaller leaf out of that frame set. There it is. Tuck it just right under that one. All right, I'm gonna same. You're floating in the sky. Thank you. That's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. Now, I don't have a stamp that has like a little, what am I want to say, Santa in a sleigh, you know, flying in the sky. But I thought that this scene, especially in the silhouette version, would be really fun to like put your Merry Christmas over here, or maybe like just stamp your like Santa in the sleigh with the reindeers in the sky. You know, I thought that would be a really fun card. So, okay, let's push these out of the way and bring in the two. And I would have added my little yellow star over here, but I realized I forgot to die cut it. So the star and the moon and the heart are on this little die right here. And so I have it in black, but I forgot to die cut it in yellow. So I'm kind of liking it just like this. I may come back and just add it right in here, but we're not going to die cut it for today. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and switch the camera back. I can't say which one I like best. I really like them both. All right. I'll switch back here. All right, like I said, we are in the middle of a hop right now over on Instagram, and that runs through December 10th. So if you haven't commented and looked at there's a really long list between Ranger and Whimsy both. Lots and lots of inspiration for both companies. So check that out, leave your comments, and enter for a chance to win. So, all right, have a wonderful day, and I look forward to crafting with you again next Thursday. Have a great one.